Hello. Well, today it just feels like a perfect day. We've had a bit of rain, it's a bit fresher, but we've still got the sunshine. We're in September now, so the weather is changing and there's definitely that sort of autumn feel in the air, especially in the mornings and the evenings. And I'm sitting in the forest garden and I was just thinking about that, saying it's a perfect day. And this idea of perfection, and it's something that permeates our lives a bit, about being perfect and things having to be perfect, and there's a lot of pressure on us as human beings to achieve a sort of perfection, and I think that causes a lot of problems when you think about it. And I was thinking about nature and just sitting here in nature in the forest garden, just thinking for a few minutes about this video and what I wanted to say. And I thought, yeah, a lot of our anxieties are about trying to be perfect or achieve something others will, I don't know, be acceptable in the eyes of others or something like that. And I think society puts a lot of pressures on people. Maybe it happens when we're really small or we're at school or with friends or something, I don't know, but it's this idea of like, what is perfection? What is that? It's bizarre when you think about it. What I believe is that everything is perfect. It just is perfect. As you know, we are, each of us, all individual, all unique. We don't actually need to spend the time worrying about whether we're good enough and that kind of thing, which I know we do. But that doesn't happen in nature, does it? That does not happen in nature. You don't get a tree thinking, is it good enough? Or a bee thinking, am I working hard enough? Or chickens thinking, do I look beautiful? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen with other animals and other species. I don't think there's any other species where it happens. I mean, obviously animals groom and look after themselves, but that's often from a point of view of just looking after themselves, or it feels good or something like that. Certainly they're not always looking in mirrors, as far as I'm aware, to see how they look. And this has been interesting for me doing these videos, because right at the beginning I looked back, funnily enough, last night I looked back at my first video. And I'd just come in from making a dry stone wall. I think maybe, I don't know why, I think I just thought, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a video. It must have been in my mind. I just got my phone and made my first little video. I remember thinking then, it's important just to be who I am and not to be trying to put on a show and that kind of thing. And yeah, you get in front of a camera and it's quite difficult. It's really weird when you're just talking to yourself, although in some ways I've got used to just talking to myself, and I don't actually feel like I am talking to myself. I feel like I'm talking to you, whoever you are. I feel like I'm talking to you, and that feels good. And since I've started to feel like that, it's been a lot easier. It's not like I'm putting on a show, it's like I'm talking to a friend, and so that helps. Obviously it's got to be a bit more focused. This particular video isn't particularly focused, and I think there's that. And sometimes I've tried to script my videos and I've had a little bit of paper and sort of trying to follow it and stopping it every couple of minutes thinking, have I included that? Should I have said this then? And got into a whole lot of angst about it. And then I thought, you know what, the best videos really, I think, are the ones where I'm just chatting as if I'm talking to a friend that's here with me. Yes, there needs to be some structure, but again, you're back to that perfection thing. And then as far as like how you look as well, how you look, how you talk, I'm really aware I've got quite a Yorkshire accent. I like it. I've come from Yorkshire, that's where I'm from. And I think this idea of not seeking perfection all the time is about, as for us as individuals, it's about learning to accept ourselves as we are. Yeah, if we want to change certain things, we can try and do that. We can always do that. But there's something about that basic acceptance, and I think we need to somehow get over ourselves and not worry so much. And some of this video making, I think, has helped me to do that. Very early on, I thought about, I've got a birthmark, which I'm sure you've noticed here. I was born with that, but for years and years I covered it up. I got some special cream and powder. I was sent to the hospital, to this special department that dealt with these skin things that people wanted to hide. And so I covered that up for a long time. It gave me problems when I was young because people always commented on it, and there was that thing of like, oh, is it a love bite? What is it? Well, as I've got older, people tend to comment less, or if they do, they just ask me, they go, oh, have you hurt yourself, or what's that? And I think, great, I can explain then. I say, oh, it's just a birthmark, I've always had it. And in the last few years, I've made a conscious decision just to not cover it up anymore. And at first I found that hard. And at first what I did was covered it up some of the time or for special things. But now I've got to the point where I haven't covered it up for ages. You know, I never cover it up. And I just think, it's me, it's who I am. I was born with it. And funnily enough, I was reminded of it just this week, because I was doing some writing. I'm part of a writing group. I was researching a little bit about the witches and the witch hunts and that sort of era in Europe and the UK and America, actually, when there were all the witch hunts and thousands of people, mainly women. I think 90% of the people were women, were actually burned at the stake for being a witch. And I didn't realise it, but one of the things that they used to decide if someone was a witch or not, one of the things was if someone had a birthmark or a blemish on their skin or something that could be used as to say, yes, you're a witch. It was just one of the things they picked on. And I thought, wow, yes. I think, you know, if I'd been born in another time, I'm definitely a witch, for sure. It's certainly in the definitions of if a witch is what, someone who feels close to nature, maybe uses herbs for certain things and medicines and quite into sort of natural things. And I've got a birthmark. I think that's it. I would have been burned at the stake. And it made me realise how lucky I am, being who I am at the moment and being in this era and not in a previous one where it wouldn't have been, I probably wouldn't have survived. And that just shows you, doesn't it, how the world changes, how easily it can change because someone decides this or that. So, yeah, that was interesting as well. So perfection, yeah, I've decided to be happy with who I am, with all my imperfection, and somehow the imperfection is also perfect. It's perfect. It's just how it is. It's how the world is. And that's why, you know, whoever we are, whoever you are, whatever you're doing your best. You're just who you are at that time. There's been times in my life when I've... things, you know, done things I haven't been proud of, you know, certainly not felt that good, things like that. But I was doing the best with who I was at that time. Perfection. Let's not strive for perfection. Let's just be who we are and accept ourselves with all our imperfections, just like nature. You know, there's leaves dying, there's some nettles over there where the sort of nettles are starting to die down now. I mean, nature's messy. Nature's just a mess, a lovely mess, a beautiful mess, and we're part of that. And yeah, we shouldn't give ourselves such a hard time, I think. Okay, so yes, here's to imperfection. Have a lovely week. See you, bye.